Hold up, black excellence, I be rapping it differently. Say how a co-sell him, how are you with this rapping thing? Underrated from Chocolate City with all the flavor. My bitches ball like I'm Q McCarty, it's annihilating. Black excellence, we depart from the negative, boy. Black denim that keep a knot like a pessimist, boy. Black niggas hate black niggas, that's evident. So keep black windows with mask niggas that never miss, boy. Charles Manson is celebrating.
How you were saying, like, you do agree that we've been oppressed for so long that we should have our time, in a sense. You were saying that earlier, and you feel like women are attacking men, and I really feel like the only reason why it's an attack is because that's I think in a lot of ways women feel like that's the best way to get the man's attention.
Okay.
So, and then because at the end of the day, y'all need to not only hold yourselves accountable as well, but just be a part of the conversation that we're having too, because in order for our society to work, for women to be equal, men have to agree with that too and have to understand where we're coming from. Instead of attacking each other, we need to do like this and have a conversation.
From understanding, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can I ask y'all, like, do both of y'all have, did you grow up with both of your parents in your household?
No.
Okay, so, like, when it comes to dating and stuff like that, what did your mom tell you about, like, dating with men and stuff like that? Like, what to expect, I guess? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. My mom, I honestly feel like she kind of messed me up in a little bit because I think she had me prepared for the worst, in a way.
What do you mean?
You know how, the previous episode I was talking about rape culture and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of similar to that. Like, if I go out somewhere, she'd be like, you got to give me this information, that information, because he could do this to you. Like, she made me very, very cautious, and she was very, very protective whenever I went out, which is cool. But it also made me think, like, okay, like, all I'm doing is going out to eat with somebody or going to somebody's house or whatever, so why do I have to protect myself so much? Like, what do you think they're going to do to me? So I always had this mindset of, like, this person could potentially harm me. So I always had to be prepared for that. So that's what dating is kind of like for me.
Growing up in a household with a father and a mother, it's kind of like the opposite of what you were saying. Like, it's kind of like, oh, you take her out, be a gentleman, open the door for her, pay for the food and all of that stuff. And I guess, like, a lot of the expectations that are associated with manhood to come from the household. Me, I know they come from my father, because, like, a lot of things that he told me and stuff that, like, that kind of built my code. So I feel like a lot of the expectations and stuff actually come from, like, a family setting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Because, like, I felt like before it was like women held expectations, but actually it's like men hold other men to a certain expectation. Like, it wasn't your mom that was telling you, like, make sure you pay.
Well, it kind of.
Well, I mean, okay, but it's not like you heard, So, like, from a young age, it's like your father was like, make sure you're a gentleman, like, make sure you pay. So it's like the expectation comes from another man.
Yeah, and then, like, I feel like that's also associated with like, I guess, manhood. Like, it's kind of like when we have, like, boys and stuff like that, we view that as, like, us in a sense. So it's kind of like we want to instill our own philosophies in them. And then, like, a lot of our philosophies, I guess, are not lined up with what society wants. So it's kind of like that's where we see, like, the blur and, like, toxic masculinity and stuff, because it's like, how you gonna tell us how we want to raise our sons,
Okay, so I know you might want to say something about him as far as why they raise their sons, but I do have a question. So how you were saying, like, you said it earlier and I've been meaning to ask you. You said something about how, like, you guys are, like, the providers and the protectors and stuff, and you have to provide and protect yourself first and then other people. But I do also know that with being a man or whatever, and one of the things that I hear a lot of guys say is that you have to not show you're hurt, in a sense, you know what I mean? Like, you're almost saying, like, you can't really express your feelings because you have to be strong for everybody else. Do you think that is an expectation from women to men, that you have to be strong? Like, you have to be the one to be strong. Like, you can't express how you feel about things. You can't show your emotions. Do you feel that way?
In a sense, I don't really think that comes from women. I think that's more so, like, with the manhood thing. But it's kind of like, you see, well, if you grow up in a household with a father, you see your father go through a lot of things, and it's kind of like he's viewed as a symbol of strength. As like, you may view your mother as a symbol of caring and stuff like that, or so when it comes to the father, he's kind of viewed as a symbol of strength. And so it's like, I know with my dad, like, I seen him go through a lot of things, and he never really, I guess, showed a sign of weakness. So like that's something that's in households with fathers and sons. So that's where that comes from. But like at the same time, like ladies, if y'all dating a man, do y'all want to see a man crying and like emotional over stuff? Like nobody wants to see that in a man. It's not just man. I don't think so.
I mean, I don't want my man to cry every single day of the year, but I mean, I wouldn't care if he did cry. I think that's important that he shows that, because I think if you don't express how you feel honestly and truly, especially with your partner, if you can't express that with your partner, who can you express that with? And I feel like if you don't, you're only suppressing your feelings. And I'm the type, I'm a girl, but I suppress the fuck out of my feelings. And when I do, those things kind of start to eat you alive, and you start to lose your shit. So if you can't even express your feelings in a healthy way, then you can't even really protect yourself. So if you're not protecting yourself, then how can you protect other people?
Well, who's saying that's unhealthy? Like
It
we
is.
don't.
So if your
I
feelings
don't-
That's
I don't
unhealthy.
think
That is
it's
unhealthy.
really unhealthy.
So it sounds like you're saying like another trait of masculinity is suppressing your emotions.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, because
suppressing, it's being in control of your feelings. That's how I view it. I don't think that like
I think
like,
being in
I'm coming home and I'm telling you like complaining about people at work and stuff like that. Like
So
that's fine.
Right.
I'm like that. I mean,
like,
like I don't see you as any less masculine for doing that. I mean,
Right.
like
I think
Well,
I would.
if you
It's
come
just
home
like-
and you're like in tears because
Joey
Joey stole your yogurt out the fridge, and then I'm not gonna look at you as less masculine. I'm probably gonna
I'm
look
just
at
be
you
like,
like
is something going on with you?
well, I just feel like it's kind of like associated with masculinity to be able to handle whatever comes before you. So something like that is kind of like good of us to be able to handle that and not really be, sitting aside complaining about it or stuff like that. So it's kind of like you just gotta like roll with it. Like we get hit with a lot of things, but it's like you gotta keep going at the end of the day. So I mean suppressing, but I view it as like being in control of your feelings.
So did you answer the question? I feel like you say stuff and then you don't answer the question, and then I have to go
Yes,
back and be like,
it was
did you
kind
answer
of
the
like
question?
two questions.
No, she did. She did ask like, do you think? So can you be gay and be masculine? I think that's what she asked you.
Okay. For me, by definition, I say no because
By
like
definition,
I
can we
feel
define
like,
what's the definition?
no,
By,
I'm
the
just saying,
by your definition of masculinity.
yeah, what by me? Like I'm saying, like I feel like a homosexual man is kind of like an effeminate male. So like by definition, no. But at the same time, you can be a gay man and still doing the stuff that you need to be doing that's expected of a man. So like on that path to being manhood. So by definition, no. But like you can still be taking care of your duties as a man.
You know the
And that's something that like
So
I've
what?
come
But
that's something that like I came to realize like I didn't think so at first, but like I've seen like a lot of gay dudes that's like actually like handling that business. Like my manager at my job is like a gay dude, but he's pretty solid. Like I've never seen like anything that's like not really associated with that man code that I was talking about. So my perception of that has changed over the years.
Okay. So you do know that there are gay men that don't have any feminine traits, though,
Yeah.
right? Like how you said your manager. So then how would he not be masculine if they don't have? Because there are some men, gay men, that you wouldn't even know they were gay unless they told you.
Well, my thing is just like the energies. Like there's masculine energy and feminine energy. So like in partners, I feel like those two kind of like match up. So if you're like masculine, a male, males are associated with masculinity, right? So like if you're a male like and you're seeking another male, that's another masculine energy. So it's just like two masculine energies. Like I don't really think that can coexist. It can coexist, but I don't think
it
that
does coexist.
Yeah,
So.
but I don't know.
Okay.
It's kind of like you can be a masculine male, but it's like there's got to be something feminine in you to be seeking a masculine energy to be with, like be partnered with.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that like two like headstrong masculine energies can exist. Like everything needs balance. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be some type of energy in there that's matching up with that.
Okay. You have comments?
I just feel like it's like I just feel like I just feel like it's not that it's not clear, but it's just like
It just seems very contradictory.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a question for you. So you keep referring to this male code, correct?
yeah.
So it seems for you personally, a lot of your views on masculinity and what a man should be are very traditional. So times are changing. So
progressing.
I like that. Progressing. We are progressing in this world. So do you think that some of your values should, not values, because I understand you have your values, but maybe some of your beliefs are or should be altered? Like, do you think, or are you very solid with how you think a man should be, or masculinity? Because things are changing. So as we are changing and evolving, I think mindsets are changing too. So do you think that yours could be, or if it ever could, or do you think you're very traditional to how you think?
Okay, so what do you think should be changed? Like, I guess in the man code, like, what do you think should be changed?
The whole idea of being the alpha man and being the one on top, because I think it just contradicts equality. But because you can't, if the man is dominant, he's the alpha man, he's the breadwinner, then that automatically just sets the tone. Like let's say in a household with a man and a woman, that just sets the tone that the man is above the woman, and that's completely just the opposite of what equality is. So I think that stuff like that should be different. And then the whole idea of y'all not expressing your emotions because it diminishes your masculinity. I think that should be changed. A lot of us want to see your emotions because I feel like when you suppress them, even though you think you refer to it as controlling the way you think, I personally view it as suppressing, and I think that could be very damaging and toxic to yourself and then ultimately the people around you. So I think that should change too.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's off topic, but do you support the feminist movement or the feminism movement?
Yeah, I'm not like a what is the word?
Contradictory.
Not a contradictor, but like an enemy of it. Like, I'm not that. Like, it's just, I feel like certain things should be respected when it comes to men instead of like put down. Like, I feel like there's a way to elevate that without necessarily like throwing dirt on men, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then your question that you're trying to.
I think, like I said before, I think as far as the attack, it's more so trying to get men to hold themselves accountable for their part as well. But my main question, you don't have to edit that shit out, but the main question I was asking, so basically, men have the upper hand. They have the power in a sense. So they're equal. So I saw this video of this guy, he was saying that a lot of times equality equals oppression to people. So is that something that you think with men? So if you were equal, like we're trying to be equal to you, but to them they're trying to they think that we're trying to
oppress them.
Yeah. Do you feel like we're trying to oppress men with?
I feel like y'all are trying to suppress certain ideals that are in like the man code.
Such as
I guess like a different perspective on provisions, because like okay, so like with just viewing like from a young age, like most of the teachers are like female and stuff like that. Like that's a statistic, right? Like most teachers are female. So I feel like women have like a lot of influential roles, like teachers, guidance counselors. You guys work good with children and stuff like that. And then from like a young age, we're kind of like raised to go out to like high grossing jobs and stuff like that. And it's kind of like even in the household, you hear, oh, you got to make good money, then you can get a woman, and then like women are attracted to success in a sense. So it's kind of like that's kind of an expectation of like men, but that's I guess being blurred or whatever. Does that make sense?
No, I feel like we're kind of going in circles right now because I'm more so trying to, because you're saying like the code is solid or whatever, like pretty much like nothing needs to change, and then you think that we're trying to change it, and in a sense I think we are, because we want to progress. So I guess we're both, I don't even know, because okay, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, so basically what you're saying, so like the codes that go with masculinity are very traditional, old-timey, Western, and then
been around for like
been around for like ever. So the fact that we're living in a world where it's like
everything
is changing. Like women are being like seen as equal, and
right.
I mean, like we talked about like the gay men and things like that. Like like there isn't. I mean, like that we don't have like feminine gay men. So like the fact that like all of these things are changing, like times are changing, like. Do you feel like the guide code needs to change with the times, and then you're kind of like no, or what you're like, what needs to be changed? And we're looking at you like, all of it. Not all of it, but it's like, I mean, basically, like, I mean, when I hear you talk about masculinity, it's almost like you're like, you have to be the providers of the house, like, you gotta do this, this, and this, like, and it's like the expectations, but it's like, do those expectations not change with the times? Like, and one of the expectations is you being a provider, but if we're now living in a society where women are
constantly
equals, yeah, and we're working and we're doing just as much, like, there isn't that expectation for you to be a provider. It's the expectation that you see me as your equal and we do as much. Okay. You know? Yeah. So
I mean, I guess like for me, like that kind of would kind of like bring on a competition for me. Like if I'm married to a woman and she's making like.
Why is it a competition?
Because it's kind of like we're not wired to sit down and take a back seat. But that doesn't mean that we have to put y'all down. No, it's saying for you to take a back seat though. Yeah, but I'm saying that doesn't mean that we have to put y'all down. Like if you're making a higher grossing job than me, that's only going to motivate me to get a better job. But is that a bad thing?
No, I mean...
No, but it depends because it does sound like you're competing. But if this is your equal partner, then you shouldn't be competing. Y'all are on the same team. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're both getting the bag, though.
Oh, yes. Okay, so if I'm making $100,000, then my partner's making $50,000, and then he's motivated by me. He's like, okay, I want to go make more money. That's cool, but are you doing that because your partner's making more? Because if you were living by yourself and you were making $50,000, would you be okay with that? Or like, do you feel some type of way because your partner's making more than what you're making? That's where I'm kind of like.
I'm not gonna feel some type of way, but I'm not gonna be comfortable with where I'm at. I'm always gonna try to do better and do better, especially if I have my partner here that's making more money than me. That's gonna motivate. That's just something that's, like, I guess that's just wired. I don't know, like.
I mean, men are wired differently, so I understand.
Yeah, like if you're like, we're just not gonna be comfortable doing less, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I mean, that doesn't have to be bad. That we could use that as motivation, and that doesn't have to be bad, or it doesn't have to be we feel ill towards our spouse because they make more money to us. But a real alpha male is. He's probably going to use that as competition, but he's not going to be like comfortable with making $50,000. She's making $100,000.
This alpha male term.
Underrated from Chocolate City with all the flavor. My bitches ball like a.
So, my question is, how you were saying, like, if you were making less than the woman, you would feel motivated to make more than that. Mm-hmm. So, in a way, that is competing with her, because you're saying like that's the competitiveness instilled in you, which is understandable. I understand that competitiveness is engraved in men, but it just, when you're competing, then it kind of completely disregards the whole point of fighting for equality. So when you're competing with your wife, in a sense, even though for you it's like, oh, well, she's motivating me to make more money, you are competing. And if you're competing with somebody, then you don't see them as your equal, you see them as competition. So what I'm saying, like, if the three of us go and do a marathon and us three are trying to see who's gonna get to the finish line first, we're competing against one another. We're not on the same team. We're against each other to see who's gonna win, which goes back to being the alpha man or whatever. But if you have a partner and you guys are competing in that sense, then to an extent, you still see yourself as superior to her, which would mean that you don't see her as your equal.
Alright, y'all. I mean, that was a great discussion. I appreciate everybody's viewpoints. So when it comes to womanism, feminism, attacking masculinity and things of that, like that, what do you guys feel like is the cure? You want to start?
Well, me personally, I think the cure, for one, we should change our approach as far as how we get males' attention, but I think that the cure is for us to, just like how we're doing, have this discussion, because it all starts with what we say and how we understand each other, and then from there we can progress and move forward. But until men can hold themselves accountable and be willing to make certain changes, then there would be no progression. So I think the cure is to have understanding.
Okay. I just believe that there's been a tradition of manhood over generations, and a lot of the time it comes from within the family of we had fathers, uncles, grandfathers. So it's just something that we're taught, and that's how we're brought up. So it's just kind of like we don't really see anything wrong with it. Like there's a way. I do believe there's a way for the feminist movement to gain ground without necessarily eliminating things that are associated with masculinity.
I'm on my grind. We making time. We go together like lemon lime. I'm on my grind. We making time. We go together like lemon lime. I'm on my grind, we making time. We go together like lemon lime. I'm on my grind, we making time. We go together like lemon lime. Got a bad bitch, she so thick, she Dominican and she feminine. Said I'm on her mind, said I'm so fine, but I'm on my grind, gotta make time. Late night, hit a food spot, sucking on her neck, I won't stop. Big booty with the big tits, she got hella clout, but I don't like it pics. That's alright, cause I'm her type, yeah, I'm left side, but I hit it right. Good sex lasts all night, looking like a snack, gotta take a bite. She out here tryna pimp niggas, she recognize I ain't Sam nigga. Late night snack, eating shrimp with her, take it to the crib in the whip with her. I'm on my grind, we making time. We go together like lemon lime. I'm on my grind, we making time. We go together like lemon lime.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the Kure's Cure, and be sure to tune in and subscribe and like our videos. And we just want to say thank you to Tyrone for coming out and telling us your opinion. All right.